Do you ever hesitate before speaking up? How is that impacting your confidence? This episode is about what hesitation has to do with confidence, and more specifically, how it can kill your confidence. You're listening to Pure Light, where we explore how to become the highest version of yourself so that you feel worthy of your craziest dreams and confident in your power to make them happen. My name is Ailey. I'm a coach, writer, and a Kundalini yoga and meditation teacher. This is episode 67. So I have a theory that confidence isn't a gift that's magically bestowed to some people and not others, although that's definitely what I used to believe at one point. Now I believe that it's available to us all. And it isn't dependent on conditions being fulfilled. It's yours to create, and it's the end result of the choices that you make. So it's something that you can build, even in areas where you may be lacking it now. And one area that historically has been a challenge for me is speaking up, both professionally and in personal relationships. So years ago, one of my consulting clients asked me why I never say anything in meetings. He said, "I can tell you're smart, but you never speak up." The clients that I was working with at that time were all senior executives. So I was constantly in meetings with directors and VPs, and I felt a bit intimidated because it was still pretty early on in my career. And I felt embarrassed when this client asked me this question because it made me reflect on why I never speak up and how other people might perceive that. And the answer to why I never spoke up, to be honest, was a fear of looking stupid. I was worried I might say the wrong thing or say something that revealed like my lack of experience or something like that. And the more that I thought about it, the more I realized I needed to stop doing that because not speaking up was perpetuating that worry and that fear. So I could either choose to face it or I could keep choosing to not speak up and have that worry and that fear. And I wish I could say that there was this immediate shift where I started speaking up all the time whenever I had something to say. But in reality, it was probably a bit more gradual. I definitely started strengthening that muscle and looking for opportunities to speak up at work. But I also remember being scared to ask questions and speak up at my first yoga teacher training, which, was kind of interesting. So I did speak up a little bit there, but probably not as much as I would have liked to. And I think that's because the habit of not speaking up was still in me. And so even though I had started to speak up in one environment and be comfortable with that, in a totally different environment with totally different subject matter, it was still challenging. And when I reflected on that, it made me realize something else. Like I needed to start making a practice of speaking up early whenever I was in a new environment to basically build that habit and establish that tendency for me to speak up in that environment. So during the first weekend of my Kundalini yoga teacher training, I felt nervous and I could feel my heart beat. But when there was a question raised to the group that I wanted to answer, I put my hand up and then I spoke up. So even though I felt nervous, I did it anyway, because I knew that if I didn't, it would be a lot harder later. And I did that multiple times that weekend and in the weekends that followed. And you know what happened? Eventually, after, doing that several times, it felt natural to the point where I didn't feel nervous and I didn't hesitate at all. And now I would say that things have totally flipped in the sense that, years ago when that client asked me that question, it was rare for me to speak up. And now it's rare for me to hesitate. You kill your confidence when you choose not to speak up. The longer you hesitate, the harder it gets because fear has time to grow. And at the same time, as you hesitate, in a way, you're telling yourself that what you have to say isn't worthy of being said. Because when you don't speak up, you let your fears and insecurities win. And this is true whether it's in a personal relationship or a professional environment. Like, I think that my tendency not to speak up started when I was in engineering. I would look at the board and have no idea what was going on, to the point where I wouldn't even know what to ask. And I was definitely worried about looking stupid there because I felt like that would be proof that I didn't belong. So if speaking up is a challenge for you, ask yourself these questions. What are you worried might happen if you say something? And do you want to keep living with that worry, or do you want to face that fear? What would be possible for you if you shared what you were thinking? And there's probably only one way to truly find out the answer to that question, and that's by doing it. So just remember this. You can build your confidence by speaking up, even if you feel nervous. Take a deep breath, feel whatever's going on in your body, and then say what you have to say. If you enjoyed this, leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. In the next episode, I'll be talking about what it really means to believe in yourself. So if you want to get that, as well as more episodes to help you feel confident, happy, and free, subscribe to Pure Light wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, may you be guided by your light.